Good afternoon. How are you today? Well, the sun comes and goes. It's in the 20s. It's windy. It's really cold out today. So, what do we start with? Well, let's talk about classified papers. We have two choices. First choice, both Trump and Biden. That's what we do. We can do that. Because, what's the value of being president if you can't do what you want? Now, Trump plainly is in that camp. And the alternative is, where is Biden really? Did he mess up here? Do we know that? We don't know it yet. And I think that if he doesn't come clean and tell us what he knows, and it persuades us, and he does it in the next 30 days, I think it's a problem for Biden. And it's a problem for what is perceived as his brand. Sure and steady, doesn't rock the boat, a guy who follows the law. What you see is what you get. And I believe that's true for him. But this is a stain on that presumed regular character, and he has to deal with it. My wife Holly today said that his wife said to him, "I told you not to do that." I don't think it's that clear, and we certainly can't presume it until we know more. There is a big difference between Biden and Trump, but we've compromised the purity of the argument by the fact that our leader, Joseph Biden, seems to have strayed. So that's that. The Supreme Court has a couple of interesting decisions. One that bothers me in particular, and maybe others generally, is the question: if you have a religious view and you work for an institution that asks you to do something that contradicts your religious beliefs, can you assert that and not be fired? So, suppose you're at a hospital and you believe that you shouldn't intervene with medicine. How does that work out? Well, you would think it would be rare that a person would be in that position, but it's possible. More likely, you're in a hospital in the emergency room and there's a question about saving a woman's life, whether to have an abortion or not, and it goes on. So if you have certain beliefs, it seems to me that you should withdraw from the position, and you can't have the religious belief overpower, preempt the individual civil rights and liberties. Now, there are a compound of issues that come into here. What does it mean to have religious liberty? To respect it. But does it mean you can take a position that creates a conflict that doesn't permit you to do your job because of your belief? And throughout history, people have decided not to do certain things that conflict with what they believe. Some people won't work for a fossil fuel company because they care more about the environment. So I think that's a real problem, and I don't think we can have people asserting minor and not so minor objections based on their religion to do their job, because it can mean the difference in, of course, the most significant cases of life and death. So we can't get past that. Talking about life and death, the Virginia Senate is trying to emulate 8 or 9 other states that are clamping down on the use of assault weapons and other gun safety provisions. And Virginia was the handgun capital of the world, and I believe still is, and that's why New York came down and investigated what we were doing and sued the state against all the guns coming from, and this is years ago, coming from Virginia up to New York, causing death and destruction. So Virginia has a terrible reputation for guns, and they're easy to get, and everybody has them. I don't, but almost everybody has them. And I'm in a district right now, in an election precinct, in which we have people shooting off guns all the time for practice. I don't know what they're practicing for. And since I walk these roads, I don't see many hunters. And we do have a surfeit of deer. So that it's not like there isn't, well, the possibility, and in some cases the need. And the development, of course, compromises the great outdoors, or these wonderful dirt roads, and the animals that depend upon undeveloped land and access to water and things like that. But all that said, in the Virginia Senate, they're going to introduce law. Now, in the Virginia Senate, we have a narrow possibility to do that, but not in the lower house. So it probably will not go anywhere, but it's an important statement that we make. We have a governor, Young Kin. Interesting name, because there's nothing young about him, and he's certainly not my kin. And he appears interested in running for the presidency of the United States. And I wouldn't mind that if it weren't for the fact that he has a terrible view of America being a Christian nation, foisting upon us, maybe something like the Supreme Court may do with its current assembly of right-wing political nuts. The Youngkin has a legislative and executive decision that follows that same thing. And he's been positioning himself to run for president. And the latest thing that he's come up with is to refuse a Ford battery plant in Virginia, which would encourage the use of batteries. These are huge car batteries for EV cars, and these cars are kind to the environment. Youngkin, of course, is big in the fossil fuel area, believing that, you know, we have to use what God gave us in the earth, meant for us to use and waste in every way possible. And he is a function of those others in Virginia that will stay with the fossil fuels until there is no fossil to fool around with. And then they'll try to occupy the space that involves solar and batteries and things like that. But here's the turn. The turn in this is, while this would help some areas of Virginia very much, depending on the location of the Ford factory, it's a partnership with a China company. Now, keep in mind that in America, we had in 2021 $500 billion worth of China business in America, that there were 2,400 companies that China is involved with, and that involves something like 114,000 persons working for these companies. So what is going on here in Virginia? Well, what's going on is it's a twofer. Young Kin, not so young, not my kin, he feels that as the governor of Virginia, he can stop this plant really because he doesn't want this kind of energy out there. He doesn't want anything that compromises the energy of coal and everything under the earth. So what does he say? This company, Ford, is being associated with China. We can't have that. I don't know if he says China, or I haven't heard him say it. But so the reason is because he knows the Chinese. He knows what they're up to. We're not going to let those Reds come here. Now, tell me this is a guy that should be president of the United States. Not very likely. But that is his trumpeting call to Virginians and people across the country. And I suppose he figures that way he gets the populace upset because China's involved, and he gets the energy companies on his side to give him big bucks. So this is the state of our American politics. The big lie. We have the big lie when we're talking about what do we do with classified documents, and I'm counting on Biden pulling out of this, and I hope he does, but I think he has a limited time to figure that out. And we have it with Youngkin, and we have it in the House, which is starting off its reign of terror by putting together committees to spend their time attacking various people in the Biden administration. What a world we live in. So I hope that our side will decide empathy is good, but being a warrior is better. Now, I apologize for my clothes today. I may not get to ski, but I thought today was a good day to dust off a ski jacket and pants and be warm. And this has been pretty effective, so I'm happy with it. Until tomorrow, when it will be probably as cold as it is today, I say hello to you from my cathedral of trees. All the best. Bye-bye.